being a rock star is like. And I think it's wonderful to have you kind of like reporting from within the music industry, like you're an embedded reporter, you know, in a war zone, like kind of reporting back, like actually this is what's going on. Because you're all just people, you know what I mean? You're just people doing this thing that, you know, but by speaking honestly about this, you're piercing this kind of persona, you know, this facade of like shining awesomeness, you know? How, like, is that something that you wanted to do? You know, is that something that was difficult to do, or, you know, to kind of step forward and raise your hand and be like, I am, you know, I am kind of a dork in this situation? Was that, or is that something that you have done?
I feel like I've done that continually. I don't know how you could look at some of my outfits in the early years of Slater-Kinney and not think, well, that person is a dork. You know, I looked like I was a certified public accountant for most of the band's life. And Portlandia revels and just really embraces all things awkward and sort of nerdy, and the discomfort of being in one's environment and body. And I think in Slater-Kinney's music, there was also a relationship to the clumsy, as much as there was to the caustic. You know, those kind of coexisted. And earnestness, I think that's where that earnestness comes into play, is that, you know, you can kind of pile on personas and mythology and volume, and you can be within that realm and feel freed by it. But earnestness pierces through that, and sometimes it's very painful for people. I think that was what part of the kind of shock of Slater-Kinney was almost the starkness of Korn's delivery, or that's what's, I think, uncomfortable about certain episodes of Portlandia, is just kind of staying on this repetition and the duration of a moment that you wish had ended moments, you know, a couple minutes ago. I'm continually obsessed with those things, and I feel like an embodiment of that. And what I try to relay in any of the work I do is, I guess, that hybridity.
Yeah, it sounds like discomfort is something you're chasing. You know what I mean? Like this kind of, I mean, I don't want to
chasing and escaping constantly.
Yes, chasing and escaping. But you know, you just talked about your music, and I thought it was wonderful in the book how you describe in such detail, you know, even how like Korn's guitar, when you first started just playing for the first time, just randomly, what happened to be tuned to, like, you hadn't even checked, and it was like something like C# or something bizarre like that, which kind of is like melodic sort of atmosphere that is, by its very nature, kind of dark and unsettling and disturbing, you know, and like that, when I heard that, I mean, when I read that, that made so much sense to me, because that is the kind of flavor that permeates your music, you know, that's its starting position, and that's the register that like you guys are speaking in. Is that, I just think, how did people react when you first started doing that back in, you know, I guess, when you were at the dawn of sort of Riot Girl, you know, time? How did that?
We played to very few people. Yeah. The 4 people at our Seattle show, including my dad, were shocked. Yeah, I mean, I think we have a video of our very first show in Portland, Oregon, and I describe it, the incident also in the book. It was this place called Shaywet, Alberta, and you know, we didn't have a PA. I certainly could not project at that time loud enough to be heard. We were out of tune. We had 4 drummers before Janet. I mean, you know, it's easy to kind of, you know, gloss over those things, but if people felt uncomfortable, it's probably because we weren't very good. And our albums were good. I mean, I felt like especially when we recorded Call the Doctor, I felt like we had done something special and that I hadn't heard. But I think so much of people's discomfort was that we did not care about those things. There was a time in Eugene, Oregon, which is Corin's hometown, where the guy running the PA shut it off because she made him mad. And we kept singing. So we were just miming into the mic, just like that. And we didn't care. We were like, you will still listen, and you won't be able to hear us sing, but we have something to say. And we always had something to say, no matter what the shape of it was. And the shape of it was often, a claw or a tooth, and we were very certain of that. But there was an ugliness to it. I think we just had to accept that. And part of the ugliness was a lack, of being amateur. Part of the lack of it was being out of tune, or part of the ugliness was being out of tune. But part of the ugliness was also and just unapologetically not caring that it was really coarse.
Yeah, that's I have to say, it